afternoon, DIA Al-Basha, and wow, it's another week done, another week ticked off, and wow, what a week it's been. Some more fantastic learning has been taking place this week, and we have been absolutely thrilled to see all of your posts on Toddle. Keep going. Now, I want to just say to start our assembly with Eid Mubarak for all of our Muslim families and to those that are celebrating. We hope you have a wonderful few days celebrating in your homes, a truly special time at this time of year. Now, for our assembly this week, can anybody remember what our learner profile was last week? You're right, it's inquirers. And last week we talked about what it meant to be an inquirer. So to keep looking and trying hard, to do your best and to keep delving down to find out answers, even when it's really tough. So that was our last week's learner profile. I wonder what our learner profile will be this week.
There were 12 attributes in our learner profile. Caring, that's Little Miss Sunshine. Knowledgeable, that's Mr. Clever. Risk taker, that's Mr. Brave. Inquirers, that's Mr. Nosey. Principled, Little Miss Wise. Thinkers, Little Miss Inventor. Balanced, Mr. Happy. Open-minded, Little Miss Curious. Reflective, Mr. Daydream. Communicator, Mr. Chatterbox. Tolerant, Mr. Strong. And resilient, Mr. Bump. I wonder which learner profile attribute you've shown us this week.
Did you get it? Well done! It's principled this week and we have Little Miss Wise. Now, if you're a principled person, it means you know the difference between right and wrong, and your actions, so what you do, shows us that you know the difference between right and wrong. And I have a lovely story now about two bears that knew the difference between right and wrong. And our story is Old Bear. Can you see all the different bears on the front there? And you can see Old Bear in the middle. And we've got Little Bear and Bramwell Bear and Rabbit and Duck. And it's a lovely story about right and wrong. I wonder if you can spot when the characters are being principled. It wasn't anybody's birthday, but Bramwell Brown had a feeling that today was going to be a special day. He was sitting thoughtfully on the windowsill with his friends, Duck, Rabbit and Little Bear, when suddenly he remembered someone wasn't there who should be. Oh, it's Old Bear. A very long time ago, he had seen his good friend Old Bear being packed away in a box. Then he was taken up a ladder, through a trapdoor and into the attic. The children were being too rough with him and he needed somewhere safe to go for a while. Oh dear, there's Old Bear in a box, and you can see him at the bottom of the ladder ready to go into the loft. Has he forgotten, do you think? Bramwell asked his friends. I think he might have been forgotten, said Rabbit. Well, said Little Bear, isn't it time he came back down with us? That's very principled of Little Bear. The children are older now and they would look after him properly. Let's go and get him. What a marvellous idea, said Bramwell. How can we rescue him? It's a long way up to the loft and we haven't got a ladder. We could build a tower of bricks, suggested Little Bear. Rabbit collected all the bricks and the others set about building the tower. It grew very, very tall, and Little Bear was just putting on the last brick when the tower began to wobble. "Look out!" he cried, as the whole thing came tumbling down. Crash! "Never mind," said Bramwell Bear, helping Little Bear to his feet. "We'll have to think of something else." "Let's try making ourselves into a tower," said Duck. "Good idea," said Bramwell. Little Bear climbed on top of Rabbit's head and Rabbit hopped onto Duck's beak and they stretched up as far as they could. But then Duck opened his beak to say something and Rabbit wobbled and they all collapsed on top of Bramwell. "Sorry," said Duck. "Perhaps that wasn't a very good idea." "Not one of your best," replied Bramwell from somewhere underneath the heap. "I know," said Rabbit. "Let's try bouncing on the bed." "Trust you to think of that," said Bramwell. "You can never resist bouncing. Up and down, up and down, up and down." The others joined him. They bounced higher and higher, but still they couldn't reach the trapdoor in the ceiling. Duck began to cry. "Oh dear," he said. "What are we going to do now? We'll never be able to rescue Old Bear and he'll be stuck up there getting lonelier and lonelier forever and ever." "We mustn't give up," said Bramwell firmly. "Come on, Little Bear, you're good at ideas." But Little Bear had already noticed the plant in the corner of the room. "I've got it," he cried. "I could climb up this plant, swing from the leaves, kick the trapdoor open and jump in." In case it wobbled, Bramwell Bear, Duck and Rabbit steadied the pot. Little Bear bravely climbed up the plant until he reached the very top leaf. He took hold of it and started to swing to and fro, but he swung so hard that the leaf broke. Snap! He came crashing down. Luckily, Bramwell Bear was right underneath to catch him in his paws. "That was a rotten idea," said Little Bear. "What was I thinking?" said Duck. "Was that it's a pity I can't fly very well, and I could have been quite a help." "Aha," said Bramwell. "That, my dear Duck, has given me a very good idea. I really think this one might work." In the corner of the playroom was a little wooden plane with a propeller that went round and round. "We could use this plane to get to the trapdoor," said Bramwell. "Rather dangerous, I know, but quite honestly, I can't bear to think of Old Bear up there alone for a minute longer." Oh, Bramwell is so principled and wants to get Old Bear back. "I'll be pilot," said Rabbit, hopping up and down, making plane noises. "And I'll stand on the back and push the trapdoor open with my paintbrush," said Little Bear. "But how will you get down?" asked Duck. "I've already thought of that," said Bramwell. "They can use these handkerchiefs as parachutes and we'll catch them in a blanket." Bramwell gave Little Bear 2 big handkerchiefs and a torch so he could see in the attic. Then he began to wind the propeller up on the plane. Rabbit and Little Bear climbed aboard and Bramwell began the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! They were off. The plane whizzed along the carpet and flew up into the air. The little plane flew beautifully, and the first time they passed the trapdoor, Little Bear was able to push the lid open with his paintbrush. Then Rabbit circled the plane again, and this time, very close to the hole, Little Bear grabbed the edge and with a mighty heave, he pulled himself inside. He got out his torch and looked around. The attic was very dark and quiet, full of boxes, old clothes and dust. He couldn't see Old Bear at all. "Any bears in here?" he whispered, and stood still to listen. From somewhere quite near, he heard a muffled grrr, followed by, "Did somebody say something?" Little Bear moved a few things aside, and there, propped up against a cardboard box and covered in dust, was Old Bear. You can see Little Bear in the trapdoor of the loft and Old Bear behind some of the boxes. Little Bear jumped up and down with excitement. Old Bear, I've found Old Bear." "So you have," said Old Bear. "Have you been lonely?" asked Little Bear. "Quite lonely," said the bear, "but I've been asleep a lot of the time." "Well," said Little Bear kindly, "would you like to come back to the playroom with us now?" "That would be lovely," replied Old Bear, "but how will we get down?" "Don't worry about that," said Little Bear. "Bramwell has thought of everything. He's given us these handkerchiefs to use as parachutes." "Good old Bramwell," said the old teddy. "I'm glad he didn't forget me." Old Bear stood up and shook the dust out of his fur, and Little Bear helped him into his parachute. They went over to the hole in the ceiling. "Ready!" shouted Rabbit. "Steady!" shouted Duck. "Go!" shouted Bramwell Brown. The two bears leapt bravely from the hole in the ceiling, and their handkerchief parachutes opened out and they floated gently down. "Welcome home, Old Bear," said Bramwell Brown, patting his friend on the back. The others patted him too, just to make him feel at home. "It's nice to have you back," they said. "It's nice to be back," said Old Bear. That night, when all the animals were tucked up in bed, Bramwell thought about the day's adventures and looked at the others. Rabbit was dreaming exciting dreams about bouncing as high as an aeroplane. Duck was dreaming that he could really fly and was rescuing bears from all sorts of high places. Little Bear was dreaming of all the interesting things he had seen in the attic, and Old Bear was dreaming about the good times he would have now he was back with his friends. Said Bramwell happily. "I knew it was going to be a special day." Isn't it wonderful that Bramwell Bear and Little Bear were so principled they wanted to do the right thing and get Old Bear down from the loft, and now they're all so happy together. The end. Okay, KG1 and KG2, are you ready for our first dough disco? I am, and I can't wait to get my hands ready and all warmed up for that awesome mark making and writing and really get those fingers stretching. Now, before we start, I know some of you have done dough disco before, but let's just remind ourselves of the names of our fingers. So find out or think about which hand you use for writing and mark making, okay? I use my right hand, so for my right hand, I've got Baby Small for my little finger there. I've got Ruby Ring, which is where some of your parents might wear their rings. You've got Toby Tall, which is your tallest finger. We've got Peter Pointer, which is the finger you might use to point at things. And you've got Tommy Thumb, your thumb, okay? So remind yourselves of each of the names of those fingers. I'm going to pull them up on the screen now. Okay, have you got your ball of Play-Doh? And don't worry if you haven't got Play-Doh. You might have some blue tack around the house, or you might have a sponge or a piece of stretchy material. It really doesn't matter because you can still use your fingers and get your hands warmed up and get your hands really strong to help with your writing as you develop those fine and gross motor skills. So today, we have got our Play-Doh and we're going to start with our dough disco. So hit some music, get it on in the background, and let's get ourselves going with our dough disco today. We're going to start by rolling it. So you're going to roll it and stretch your fingers and get it into a lovely ball, a sphere, one of your 3D shapes. So you're rolling your ball. Okay, brilliant. And you might move your hands to the sides to get your Play-Doh in that round ball. I can feel my fingers warming up already. And next, we are going to roll it. Going to roll your Play-Doh into the shape of a big long worm or a caterpillar. Can you see? And you can bring it up as well. So get your Play-Doh rolled out. Roll it. Really stretch those fingers. Really stretch it out. And that will really help you with your writing. Okay, next, my favourite one. We are going to squeeze it. You're going to squeeze the Play-Doh. Squeeze it in your hands. And don't worry if you've got a sponge or a piece of material, you can still squeeze it into a ball in your hands. I wonder if you can squeeze it up high and squeeze it to the side. Squeeze it down. Squeeze it across. Squeeze it across your body. Really squeeze it. Well done. Can you make it flat like a pancake? Stretch your fingers, pop it in the palm of your hand. Can you make it flat like a pancake? Brilliant, PreK, KG1 and KG2. Nice and flat, as flat as you can. Can you now stretch? Can you stretch your Play-Doh? Stretch it out. Stretch. Stretch your Play-Doh. That's it. Stretch it out. Okay, now we're going to roll it again. Let's roll it and get it into that ball, ready for our next part of our dough disco. Now, can you remember the names of those fingers that we were talking about at the start? And remember to get your mark-making hand, or your hand that you write with, okay? So the hand that I write with is my right hand. So I'm going to start with Tommy Thumb. And I'm going to press Tommy Thumb into the ball of Play-Doh. Take him out. Can you press him again? Keep pressing Tommy Thumb into the ball of Play-Doh. So you've got your thumb right into the Play-Doh. Fantastic. Roll your Play-Doh into a ball again. Fabulous. Now choose your other hand, the other hand that you don't write with. Can you press your Tommy Thumb in? That's it. Fantastic. Because even if you don't use that hand for writing or mark making, you'll still use it for lots of other things. We still need to make sure it's strong. Fantastic. Okay, roll it up into a ball again. And this time we are going to use Peter Pointer. So we're going to point him into the ball. Press him really hard into the Play-Doh. Fantastic. Well done. Can you do the same with Baby Small? Baby Small, press it into the ball. Fantastic, Baby Small. Well done. It's a bit tricky with Baby Small. I think that's the one that I find the hardest. Press Baby Small into your Play-Doh. Fantastic. Which other fingers haven't we done yet? We haven't done Tommy, Tall, and we haven't done Ruby Ring. Okay, let's go. Toby Tall, I mean. Let's get Toby Tall into the Play-Doh. Press him nice and hard. Fantastic. Press Toby Tall in. Brilliant. And Ruby Ring. Fantastic. Ruby Ring. Get her in there as well. Brilliant. Give your hand a stretch. Wiggle those fingers. Give your other hand a stretch and wiggle those fingers. Well done. And we're going to end our dough disco with a splat. Are you ready? And splat. Are you ready? Splat. Are you ready? Splat. Are you ready for the last big splat? Ready, steady, splat. Okay, it's the moment we've been waiting for. Who has won a Dynamite Distance Learning Award in PreK, KG1 and KG2 this week? Let's see. Okay, Pre-KA Miss Victoria's class, Abed, Layla and Linda, with Liana from Miss Lucy and Steve from Miss Laura. Pre-KB Miss Marjorie's class, Ella and John, with Emma from Miss Lucy and Faisal from Miss Laura. Pre-KC from Miss Anel's class, Duru, Natalie and Karnav, with Zoya from Miss Lucy and Ahmed from Miss Laura. KG1A, Miss Adele's class, Shania, Russell, Isa, Mishti from Miss Lucy, Kyra from Miss Laura and Kakero from Miss Mariam for Arabic. KG1B, Miss Caro, Avia, Tarek and Sophie, with Evan from Miss Lucy, Kanri from Miss Laura and Ermic from Miss Mariam. KG1C, Miss Tasmin's class, Aline, Hannah and Farida, with Robert from Miss Lucy, Reva from Miss Laura and Chisato from Miss Mariam. KG1D, Miss Maria's class is Yaya, Ice and Havisha, with Zoe from Miss Lucy, Jayanch from Miss Laura and Celine from Miss Mariam. KG2A, Miss Angelique's class is Esha and Eric, with Akira from Mr. Christopher for PE and Mashika from Miss Laura, Clara from Miss Mariam and Daniel from Miss Palomi for art. KG2B, Miss Amory, Bilge and Johan, with Andre from Miss Lucy, Cameron Beck from Miss Laura, Gabrielle from Miss Mariam and Daniel from Miss Palomi. KG2C, Miss Noreen's class, Alisa and Mahir, with Rafida from Miss Lucy, Rahito from Miss Laura, Shiv from Miss Mariam and Hiba from Miss Palomi. And finally, in KG2 class with Miss Tara is Yasin and Zachary, with Tetsuharu from Mr. Ronan, Abigail from Miss Laura, Alexander from Miss Mariam and Michael from Miss Palomi. So, congratulations to all of our distance learning certificate winners today. You will be receiving one of these certificates by email, and on your certificate you will have your name like I've just read out, but you'll also have the reason why you've been awarded the certificate. So congratulations, great job, and you never know, if it wasn't you this week, it could be you next week. So without further ado, I wish you all a wonderful, restful time during Eid celebrations. Eid Mubarak to all of our Muslim friends and other members of the community who celebrate, and we look forward to seeing you at some point, because we haven't had the days fully confirmed yet, but I might see you next Thursday for an assembly, and if not, I will see you the following week. Okay, goodbye for now everybody.